Knox County Schools. In the 2014-15 school year, our students saw increases in proficiency on TCAP, an increase in the ACT composite score, and more of our students took and passed advanced placement courses and exams than ever before. The Knox County Schools scored a composite level 5 on the Tennessee Value Added Assessment System, or TVAS, and that's the highest level attainable. The four-year high school graduation rate for our school system has increased dramatically from 79.3% for the class of 2008 to 90% for the class of 2015. And finally, in August, the state of Tennessee named the Knox County Schools as an exemplary school district, one of only 12 such districts in the state of Tennessee, and the only large metropolitan school district to ever earn that distinction. Despite these impressive accomplishments and remarkable gains in student learning, there are some who still do not believe in the work that we're doing in the Knox County Schools, and those who simply do not support our successful educational efforts. We stand today at sort of a strange place where educationally we are more successful than ever before. And yet politically, there seems to be more negativity and noise than ever before. So where are we? We know that next September there will be a majority of school board members seated who are critical of our current strategic direction in the Knox County Schools, and frankly critical of my leadership. We know that our current law director has proffered several legal opinions clearly intended to invalidate large portions of my employment contract, which had been previously approved by the school board. We know that the County Commission recently took the opportunity to send a fairly stinging message to me and the school board by rejecting that same contract in a 9-2 vote. And we know that 3 exceptional and visionary school board members have decided not to run for re-election in the current climate. As for me, all I have ever wanted to do is serve the children and families of our community as superintendent of the Knox County Schools. I was delighted to get a vote of confidence from a majority of the school board members back in November. Unfortunately, however, the current political environment has become increasingly dysfunctional, at times overtly antagonistic, and seemingly untenable. In recent months, the focus of the conversation has all too often become about me or the school board or other elected officials, rather than around the effective education of our children. Therefore, I've been in discussion with Chairman Harris and Mayor Burchett regarding a potential transition. We've come to consensus that if the school board were to approve a buyout of 1 year of my contract, I will agree to resign as superintendent of the Knox County Schools effective July 8th. This would allow plenty of time for a smooth and purposeful transition and allow the new school board that will be constituted on September 1st to have a fresh start with a new district leader of their own choosing. I want to be clear, I'm not leaving for another job, and I'm not leaving for another city. My family and I plan to stay here in Knoxville, as this has truly become our home. And I was looking forward to another 4 years of doing the job that I love, leading this exemplary school district and providing an outstanding education for our children. Unfortunately, that just doesn't seem to be in the cards right now. I want to thank all those who continue to support high-quality public education in our community, our teachers, our staff, principals, parents, business partners, and community members. We've made tremendous academic progress, and we have so much to be proud of in the Knox County Schools. Please keep moving our schools forward toward our ambitious goal of excellence for every child. In closing, it has truly been a great honor and privilege for me to serve as the leader of this extraordinary school system for the past 8 years. And I will continue to work diligently to provide a superlative education to the children of Knox County Schools until my very last day as superintendent. Thank you. I think Mr. Harris has some comments that he may share.
Obviously, this is a tough day for many, many people in Knox County school system. They're going to be sad to see Dr. McIntyre leave us this summer. Jim McIntyre has put his heart and soul into this job, and I personally am very sad to see him leave. We've seen, as he's just delineated, some tremendous progress in our school system over the last 8 years of his leadership here in Knox County. And really, we're considered, I would say, the leader, educational leader in our state, that we all ought to be proud of that work that Dr. McIntyre has done for us as he's been here. Personally, I didn't know Dr. McIntyre 3 years ago when I got on the board and was elected to the board, and that's what we were discussing yesterday. It's an amazing job, the task of being a superintendent. I think it's the toughest job in any county, and the respect that I've got for this man exceeds anything that really I could describe. His work ethic, his ability to cast vision, his strategic thinking, we're going to miss that, and we can just only hope and pray that we are able to find somebody to replace him that can keep moving the ball forward. One thing I just want to reiterate is that this transition plan is subject to board approval. Dr. McIntyre has a new 4-year contract, and we have negotiated a 1-year severance package that must be still approved by the Board of Education, and I fully expect that would happen. So I think right at this point we're going to take any questions if anybody has questions.
I'll speak individually. When did conversations start about this?
When did conversations start about this?
When did conversations start about this transition?
This weekend.
Did you initiate it or did someone else?
Conversation began between me and Mr. Harris.
What's the transition that you're speaking of? You mentioned you're going to transition into another position?
No. I mean, the transition of my leaving as superintendent and the transition presumably of a new leader being selected. I don't have any plans at the moment. As I mentioned, Knoxville has really become our home. My youngest son has actually lived in Knoxville longer than he did in Massachusetts, so we're planning on staying here.
Planning on staying in the education system?
I believe so, yes, ma'am. I don't have any plans at the moment, except to really think about what that next phase might look like. And
No plans for any job offers?
I'm sorry?
Any job offers even though you don't have a plan?
No, do you have one in mind? Do you want to? If you got one, I can. I'm accepting offers at the moment. No, I don't have any plans. I don't have any specifics at the moment. It feels like, in conversation with school board members and others, it feels like the right time for a transition. It feels like, we've got a new school board essentially coming in on September the 1st. There'll be several new members. It will have a very different direction that it probably wants to think about taking the school system, and I think that new school board deserves the right to choose the leader that they wish to have in place, and that's probably not me, and so give them the opportunity to do that.
You called school board members this morning to kind of give them a heads up, or at least a couple of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you expecting them to approve the buyout? Is that what you're looking at?
I would think so, but again, that's certainly up to their review and approval, and we'll see where that conversation go. I believe it will require probably a special called meeting on the part of the chairman. I believe we'll probably make that call sometime today or in the next day or two to move that forward. But yeah, I would think they would be amenable to it. I think it seems to make sense. It seems like a reasonable time to make and an appropriate time to make a transition. And so I hope that the board will be supportive of this plan.
Tim, over the years, the budgets from the county with the school system, with you, Dr. McIntyre, the relationship's been a tad bit interesting. Can you speak in retrospect now that he's departing, the relationship that you have, or the superintendent's job that you think he's done?
Well, overall,
Can you
Jim.
do the microphone?
Yeah, I should have known that. Overall, Jim and I's relationship's been a positive. You know, the last couple of years, we've done some remarkable things, in my opinion. Folks didn't think we were going to be able to build several of the schools that we did. I mean, Carter, for instance, we paid cash for, which is just unheard of. Let's see, Gibbs and the Hardin Valley Middle. Nobody thought we'd do that. We did all that without a tax increase, and thanks to Doug and the board members and the commission all working together. It was a, you know, mutual. We have our differences, but the reality is, it's the kids are who we are here for, and that's where we put our differences aside and try to work for some sort of mutual agreement, and that's where that came from.
What are you looking for going forward in a replacement?
I have nothing to do with that. It's fully up to the school board.
Dr. McIntyre, it seems that things have been less contentious as of late. What was the tipping point?
I don't know that there's any one tipping point. Again, I think that I'm very proud of the work that we've done in the Knox County schools over the last 8 years. I'm very proud of the work our teachers and our principals and our administrators and our staff have done to provide a great education for our kids. I just know that there are some different perspectives on how to approach public education in our community, and I know that in September we are going to have a Board of Education that really a majority of the members have a different perspective on how to provide quality public education to our students than I do, and I think that that's something I respect. The duly elected members of the school board. I respect their positions and their authority and responsibility to carry out the provision of education in our community. And I think it makes sense to give them the opportunity to give them the opportunity to choose the person that they think is going to be best to lead the educational effort going forward. I think we've done a tremendous job in advancing and improving and enhancing public education in our community. We've set really high standards, and both for children and for adults in our school system, and I think we've made tremendous progress. And I think it provides the newly constituted board that will take their seats on September 1st the opportunity to identify the leader that they want, to build on that momentum, to build on that strength, to build on that success for the future. Well, certainly I appreciate that and be flattered by that. I think that, again, if the board sees fit to approve this plan, I think it makes sense to make the transition at this moment in time. It will be, again, we have several school board members who are not running for re-election. We'll have a few new members that will take their seats on September 1st. I think the timing just seems like it's probably the right time to make a transition.
Was this completely your idea, or did anyone suggest it to you?
No, this was my idea.
Talking about the search for the next superintendent, we've been talking about the next board being able to make that decision. Will there be any things put into the works before then, as far as a national search, a call for candidates?
Right. Obviously, we've got a board meeting actually tonight and Wednesday, so I don't know if we'll actually talk about it tonight. There's a good chance we'll talk about what that process looks like. Do we want to just have an interim, or do we want to look at somebody to be a permanent position? That's obviously going to be up to the 9 members of the board that are serving right now. So we'll just really have to get in there and talk it out. Because of the sunshine law, obviously we can't call each other and make a plan until we get into the meeting room.
Did you take the holidays and it just kind of hit you all of a sudden that maybe this was the decision you needed to make? What kind of prompted, what was the thought process for the data guy? Tell me through a little bit about what was going through your mind about making that decision and why, kind of finally saying this, and approaching Doug about this is what I want to do.
Well, certainly over the holidays, that's a time of reflection and introspection, and certainly thought and prayed a lot about this, and the timeline, and whether this was the time to think about making a transition. Again, I think I outlined in my remarks several of the factors that make the current political environment challenging, and I think that, if you look at overall in the big picture, if you look at what we've been able to accomplish the last 8 years, if you look at where we are today and where I hope this community aspires to be in the future, it just seemed to make sense in terms of the timing of a transition. I think something that looms very large is there will be a change in the nature and the makeup of the school board that will begin on September 1st, and I think just knowing some of the individuals who are going to be seated or have already been seated, I think there's a possibility that school board may want to move in a somewhat different direction. I think we all have the same goal. I think we all want to make sure we provide an outstanding education to our children, but there may be differences in how you approach that. And, I want to be respectful of that, and I want to allow that newly constituted school board the opportunity to really have the district leader of their own choosing. And I recognize that might not be me, and that it probably makes sense to make the transition at this point in time.
Tim, how long ago did you start thinking this?
What's that?
How long ago did you start thinking?
I mean, really just recently over the holidays.
Last question, anybody?
Is there anything that could make you stay?
Is there anything that could make me stay? Again, I think the school board has to have conversation around this plan and this proposal, and if they approve it, but if the school board does approve it, I will live up to my part of this bargain and resign effective July the 8th. Again, I think that gives a nice 6-month period of transition. It allows for a transition to be smooth. It allows for the transition to be, very reasonable, and for everyone to really look to the future and see where we go from here. We have a very ambitious goal in our community to achieve excellence for every child, and I believe that will continue to be the goal. I believe that will continue to be what we shoot for, and I hope that it is, because that's what our children need, that's what our children deserve, and they need to be well prepared for their future. And so I hope we continue in that direction.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel sadness this afternoon, or do you feel relief?
I feel sadness. This is not what I wanted to do. Obviously, someone mentioned I just asked for a contract renewal a few weeks ago, and as I said in my remarks, I would love to continue to do the job that I love doing, of being superintendent of schools. I just don't think, given all of the dynamics that are happening right now, that it makes sense for me and for this school district and for our community to do it. I would love to continue to do this job, but I feel like it's the right thing for me to do, to step down and make room for a leader of whomever the next school board chooses, so that they can move in the direction that they want to move in.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Dave. Yep. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I'll call you. I'll call you.